Hello everybody, it's Gaz from Fermented World, and today we're going to do a little bit of an experiment which may or may not work. So I've started step feeding a sack mead which I've got at the back here. Not sure if you can see that. Yeah, you should be able to. So I'm going to add this honey here, which equates to 1,360 grams. It's as close as I can get it to the amount of honey I put in that in the beginning. This, when it finished at the back here, that came out at 13.3. So if I put all of this honey in and it runs dry, it should be around 12.5 to 13 mark. But this isn't an ordinary mead brew. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the honey into this. I'm going to pour water onto it, and then I'm going to pitch yeast. I'm not going to mix it. I'm not going to do anything. The theory behind this is because if you think about many moons ago when whoever, the Vikings or monks or whatever, invented mead or discovered mead, should I say, you've got to think that they probably did it by accident. So if they were storing it, somehow maybe rainwater got into it, which would harbour some sort of yeast from the air and stuff around it. So then the yeast and the water, over time, just starts producing alcohol. Maybe at low levels, really, really slowly because it wasn't mixed, but that's what we're going to do. We are going to fill this up with all of this honey, and then as gently as possible add water. I know it sounds crazy. It could all go wrong. It could be a complete waste of ingredients. And as usual, I am using Mangrove Jack's mead yeast, which I only use about half a packet of. Bugger. Unfortunately, my colander's not doing very well. I'm not even, sorry, not colander, but the other funnel isn't doing very well. I'm not even going to hydrate the yeast this time either, which is something I've started doing in the last couple of brews. So let's get straight into it. I was just going to use this Stockwell & Co honey. It's nice enough honey to put on your toast. Not sure what it's like in a mead. I believe it's a blend of honey instead of one specific honey. Yeah, it's a blend, yeah. So let's get into it. Like I say, this is just an experiment. It could go horribly wrong. It might not even work. It could be a total waste of ingredients. But until we try it, we don't know, do we? And it's Brian and Derica from City Steading that's given me the idea to try this. I haven't seen their video for it. I'm not sure whether they did one, but it's made me want to do one. So, because I just want to see if it's going to work, just for geeky reasons and stuff. So yeah, this is going to take a very long time to get all this honey in there. As you can see, it's going in very slowly, but we'll get there eventually. So I'm going to whiz away and I'm going to turn super speed on, do some Sonic the Hedgehog shit. So that took a lot bloody longer than I thought it was going to. So unfortunately there's still bits of residue in there, but I'm not willing to forego the experiment for what it was or is and mix it in with water or anything like that to try and get the last bits out. I've tried my best. I mean, there's literally minimal amounts left in there now. There's a bit left in this container here, which I'm just about to get in. Obviously, the more you get in there, the better your mead's going to be. That's if this works. And we have no idea whether it's going to or not. What a lovely sound. Right. There may be wastage, but you just gotta... You'll be here all day, which I don't really want to be. So I'm going to say that's as much as I can get. A bit more out the lid. And now we're going to add the water. Normally, I use heated water, like not boiled, but just heated up to near the point of boiling. And then switched off to start it with, but we're going straight in with the water, so that's what we're going to do, and hopefully that will rinse any of the honey down there. Can't see how that's looking. Is it looking good? Certainly is. That's how I wanted it to look. Just try not to disturb that honey. I don't mind it doing a bit of it, but I want it to be as natural as possible. You know, like a barrel that they used to store it in? I'm trying to mimic that. We're gonna need some more water. Not a lot more, mind, but more all the same. I think that'll do. Strange as fuck. Alright, so now we're going to add the yeast. Normally, I would hydrate this, but I don't think they had it hydrated when it was done. So, yeah, I'm just going to go about half a packet. And then I'm just going to leave it. I'm not even going to stir it in, which sounds absolutely barbaric. I'm tempted to put more in to help it. Right, that'll do. And then back in the fridge with this, keep it fresh. I came out of the fridge a few hours before doing this video. So now, the yeast starting to find its way through the water, making its way down to the honey. And as we're going to do nothing else to this, other than just leave it. Such a strange concept though, isn't it? To think we're just going to leave that like that for it to do what it's going to do. Now, I've never seen this dab like that before. You can't even see through the water now, it's that cloudy. All the yeast settling in. It probably won't do anything for a while because the temperature's quite cold because I didn't use any warm water to help it. But it's all slowly dropping down. And we'll see how it goes. I'm going to put an airlock on it, and yeah, that's that for now. Now, annoyingly, a clump of the yeast has found its way to the side and it's all just gumped together in a fucking yeastberg. And there's not really a great deal I can do about it. So we'll hope that that just drops down. Even though a little bit more rose up then. Bastard. And after quite a while, longer than the 10 minutes I'd set out for the sterilisation, I've come up with this. So I had to use an adapter to get it on because the tubing I've got just didn't fit. So one end goes in your glass of water. Take the offending one off and pop that on as soon as possible. And as you can see, it's a bit gammy in there. That would eventually just come up into the funnel and just cause loads of shit. So now what happens is those gases, if they need to, they're free to escape. They can come up here, down the tube and into here and not bother anything going on with the brew. And that's perfectly safe to do that. Water in there, sterilised water, so if for whatever reason it decides to suck it back up, maybe if there's a change of pressure going on in here, that'll be fine. It might ruin the brew if it does take some of that in, because that's got like some of this in, which is the sanitizer I use, VWP. It's good for kitchen hygiene, crockery and homebrew. And that is still, I mean, it's even got some bigger bubbles coming up now. So it's definitely the right decision. And it will be interesting to see whether that line goes down. Until tomorrow, we will not know. Although I really want to see this bubble up now in this trap. I waited 10 minutes while the blow-off tube was sterilising, and it rose back up again. There's definitely some sort of activity going on in here, which must be the yeast fermenting the honey. It's getting even more active now, so we're definitely putting this blow-off tube on, or there's just going to be a mess all over the place tomorrow. Just sterilised the tubing for a blow-off, and it seems to have sorted itself out. Now, whether I was just passing and noticed it at the peak, because it just seemed to be going down a bit, but there are still bubbles rising and collecting around that area. So it's whether I risk not bothering to put the blow off on and then possibly have crap everywhere in the morning, or just do it because A, I've never done it before, and B, because I've already sterilised it. So I'm going to go for do it, even though it is receding back even more so now. but I'm still not happy with it. Especially with that all being yeast there, I really don't want to waste it. Hello. 12 hours later, we seem to have developed some sort of crust. I'm not sure of the actual name of it, but as you can see, the bubbles are moving slowly to the top, which means the yeast is doing something. Now, you can see it without the light, but it's better with the light. I may have to, for the first time ever, put a blow-off tube on this, because otherwise that will go up into the trap and then the trap's going to be no good. So the morning after, there's now a steady flow of bubbles coming out the bottom of the blow-off tube. It doesn't look too bad there now. It seems to have levelled off a little bit. It's still a bit crusty, but the level itself has gone down to about here. I'm going to leave the blow-off tube on for now, and we'll see what happens. Later on, might be able to take it back off, but the activity is definitely going now. I mean, it's actually more active than that, but granted, this does have fresh yeast and more yeast, I suppose. Very good. Over 24 hours later, and the maybe mediocre experiment is still happily bubbling away, but more excitingly, it has eaten through some of the honey. It's gone past the marker. This is so fucking strange. I'm actually really excited now. This is like what I thought was going to be a dud experiment is genuinely giving me cheap thrills.